Skyrim has sold over 60 million copies, making it the 7th best-selling video game of all time. A major reason for Skyrim's success is simply that it's a well-made game, its biggest strength being its captivating, insanely detailed world. However, there are plenty of well-made video games out there, but few of them manage to embed themselves in the collective consciousness of gamers in the way that Skyrim did. Skyrim's release was a cultural moment, one that the majority of gamers participated in, if not by directly playing the game, then by watching playthroughs on YouTube. Skyrim fever gripped the gaming community wholesale in 2011 and in subsequent years, and for some players it's simply never subsided. That Skyrim was not just another Bethesda game becomes clear when you compare its success to that of Fallout 4. Of its own accord, Fallout 4 was a successful video game, selling roughly 14 million copies. Although that's less than a quarter of the copies that Skyrim sold, it's well above average for a video game, on par with the likes of God of War and some Call of Duty games. Yet, who remembers Fallout 4 today? When is it ever mentioned in conversation, in person, or online? How many videos or memes about the game proliferate on social media? Ultimately, Fallout 4 never made the cultural imprint that Skyrim did within the gaming community. Arguably, Fallout 76 did make an impression, but for all the wrong reasons. What's even more remarkable about Skyrim is that its influence hasn't diminished despite the release of several new Bethesda games: The Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. With the help of modders, as well as Bethesda in the form of several official re-releases, Skyrim has retained its place of prominence within the gaming community. But is Skyrim finally about to die? Is it about to be superseded by Starfield? The energy around the release of Starfield reminds me about the run-up to Skyrim's release back in November 2011. The excitement, the hope, the curiosity, the feeling that we were all about to play a game that would redefine the RPG genre. The strength of that feeling, it's all there now. In many respects, the excitement is justified. Starfield's been in development for many years, and reportedly with a budget of over $200 million, so we can expect it to be good. And looking at the trailers, there's certainly a lot to be excited about. With regard to the main story, a mystery is always solid grounding for a game narrative, and there's no greater and perhaps no more pertinent mystery than what is out there. The player's goal in Starfield is to find, collect, and investigate a series of mysterious alien-made artifacts scattered across the system. More mysterious yet, these artifacts appear to fit together to form some sort of device, the purpose of which is unknown. But I suspect it's not so much the story, but the world building, or in this case universe building, that excites most fans. Bethesda are bringing us a new IP, the lore of which, beyond a tiny little smidgen, we are completely ignorant of. The best part of playing a new RPG is throwing yourself into a new world, and Starfield seems like it will more than deliver on that front. Speaking personally, Fallout's never been able to satisfy that itch to completely get lost in a world utterly different from the real one, because I've never found the post-apocalyptic setting that compelling. However, because Starfield is a new IP and promises to be a completely new take on the sci-fi genre, I'm optimistic that it will be able to scratch that itch. There's also the fact that the technology behind Starfield is impressive. The map is of insane proportions. Apparently there are over 1,000 planets, each being bigger than Skyrim's map in its entirety. The vast majority of these planets are not handcrafted, but rather generated by procedural generation. I have my concerns about the use of procedural generation, particularly as I've not been impressed with Bethesda's use of it in some of their previous games, such as Daggerfall. But I'm open-minded and still optimistic that the procedurally generated terrain in Starfield will be interesting, not least because modern technology should allow Bethesda to create a better procedural generation mechanic. Another reason that there's anticipation around Starfield's release is that the game seems to offer as much freedom to the player as Bethesda's titles typically do. Something Bethesda have always done well is providing an open world with next to no restrictions, affording the player the freedom to solve quests in a million different ways, but also just to mess with the world, to barge into and explore random homes, to put buckets on people's heads, assets to push people off cliffs. You name it, you can do it in a Bethesda RPG. There's also another reason that I think Starfield is likely to finally eclipse Skyrim, and that's to do with content creators themselves. Many content creators who focus on Bethesda, including myself, are fatigued with Skyrim. I didn't begin making YouTube videos on Skyrim until about 2016, but some YouTubers have been making videos on the game almost continuously since its release. As you can imagine, many content creators are eyeing up Starfield, eager to work with some new material. My prediction is that unless Starfield is mediocre or, gods forbid, downright bad, then the amount of Skyrim content you're going to see online is going to decrease dramatically. And let's be real, even if Starfield is bad, there's going to be a lot of content about the game anyway. It's just that most of it will be negative instead of positive. Whether Starfield does surpass Skyrim though has a lot to do with modders. I would go as far to say that half of Skyrim's success is due to the modding community. By the looks of it, Bethesda are hoping that modders will jump on Starfield. The company have committed to making Starfield a modder's paradise in their own words, and they've said that they're going to make mods available on the console version of the game on Xbox. So will Starfield blow Skyrim out of the water? Well, we'll get an inkling of that at 5 PM tonight UK time when the reviewer embargo lifts. People always have different opinions about video games, but we'll get more or less a sense of whether Starfield is a truly amazing game, whether it's perhaps a mediocre game, or whether it's just downright awful. I would say that the odds aren't really in Starfield's favour. Since Skyrim, Bethesda have released 2 major titles, neither of which have managed to be as iconic as The Elder Scrolls V. There's also the added fact that, perhaps in their attempts to replicate Skyrim's success, Bethesda will end up shooting themselves in the foot. There's a real danger that Starfield will be too much like Skyrim. There's already some evidence of this from the trailers. Starfield is apparently set in a period of uneasy peace 2 decades after a devastating civil war, just like Skyrim was. Maybe when Todd Howard said Starfield was Skyrim in space, he meant that more literally than we realised. Starfield has the potential to knock Skyrim back from the prominent pedestal it's occupied within gaming for the last 11 years, and I hope it does. Skyrim's a tough game to beat, but maybe after the lessons learnt from Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, Bethesda have finally managed to pull together and create a game as iconic as their last great success. Come the 6th of September, we will see for certain. Thanks for watching this video. Just to let you know, I didn't get a review copy of Starfield, so I've not been able to play it for the last few days, but I do have early access of the game from late tonight. So please don't expect any content from me on Starfield immediately after the reviewer embargo lifts. I probably won't upload a video on Starfield for the next few days because I'll want to play the game entirely before I start talking about it. So any video ideas you may have for Starfield, please put them in the comment section below. I read the majority of the comments, so if you've got a really good idea, then just pop it down there and it's more than likely that I'll have a look and that I'll make it into a video. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.